Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back, and we are back to the Netflix series Squid Games The Challenge, and we are now on episode 5 and it is called Trick or Treat. But before we get into this episode, as I always ask, please, I beg of you, please hit that subscribe button and please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's talk about the episodes, shall we? I need to start off by saying as well that if you have not watched this show, like, even though I kind of explain things as to what's happened and there's a lot of spoilers because I like to go into what I'm talking about, then you really need to watch this show because I really liked it. Like, I honestly liked it. The very end ones, like, because there's 3 people left now, it isn't coming on until Thursday, so that's why you're getting an influx of these videos right now, because I literally just I loved it, and I would rate it for anybody to actually go and watch the series if they haven't watched it at all, because I'm telling you, it gets you. Like, it really gets you. At least it gets you talking to the TV and interacting with the TV like I always do. Anyway, let's get back to this episode. So we already know that these 5 volunteers have all stepped in front of their Jack-in-the-Boxes. So, and we know that it's either you get an advantage in the game, you choose 2 players or 3 players to eliminate, or you could end up getting eliminated yourself. So 183, who is friends with Cheney, okay, who is friends with Cheney and has learned exactly what 141 has been doing with his megaphone mouth. I mean, I don't know how long he thought that would last to other people and it wouldn't get back to the person he's talking about. You're in a small confined place, mate. I mean, he did not think well on that one. Did not at all. So as it says, 183 opens the box and he had to pick 2 players to eliminate. So he eliminated number 26 because he'd never spoken to her at all. And then the next person he said he was going to eliminate was the person who had been stirring up misinformation and causing trouble, was his words. And everybody was looking. Cheney already knew he was going to pick once he said those words. And Dash should have had an idea of who was going to go next. I mean, come on. He should have had an idea, because 183 is not really going to play this all too strategically at the end of the day. You fucked over one of the people that he gets on with, so he's going to fuck you over royally by eliminating you completely from the show, which is what he did. He eliminated Dash, which was 141. And Dash did not go quietly. Dash decided to throw Cheney under that bus even further and basically told everybody that she is the head of this alliance and that they're there to get everybody out and eliminate them any which way they could do. Now, he knew by throwing that out there that someone is going to pick it up in order to take her out. But by then, I think it was just a little bit too late, because you can never trust what the fuck happens in this motherfucking show. Let's just put it this way. So then we go to 375 and he opens his Jack-in-the-Box and he ended up getting straight eliminated. That was it. He just waved his hands, out the door he went. And I'm like, for people watching this, like, when you're stood there and you're watching that these people are opening up these Jack-in-the-Box, either they have the power to eliminate you, or you're literally watching people either get an advantage or literally watching them eliminate themselves. That I'm seriously, there must be some worry for them. Like, watching that, there must be some worry and some anxiety going on. And I'm just like, this is why this type of environment is not good for people. It really is not good for people, because you'd have your anxiety going out of the motherfucking roof. And if you didn't have anxiety before, you'd have anxiety while you were doing that. Let's just put it that way. Money be freaking damned. Money be damned at that point, because you'll literally always continue to have your ass in your hands. Anyway, let's carry on. So number 87 opens their box and he had to choose 1 player to eliminate, and he took 1768. And the reason why he said it was absolute crap, it was crap, and everybody was like, what? Everybody was shocked that they picked that person, but 176 had to go. So 130 opens their box, and they got an advantage in the game. And everyone's like, yeah, and he was all happy. And I was like, you know what? Don't celebrate just yet, because having an advantage in that place is not a good thing. You've now placed a target on your back, and everybody's thinking, okay, you got an advantage, not realizing that if one of them up there, yeah, open up a box and they can eliminate someone, you are in that pool of being eliminated. Advantage or not, be damned at the end of the day. You see that there? Advantage or not, be damned, because nobody will want to see you having an advantage over them in regards to the next game and getting closer to the pot of money. If they can get rid of you, they will. So 229 opens the box, and basically she has 3 players to eliminate. So 229 is Felicia. It's Felicia. And remember from the previous episode, I told you that she made some power moves, and these were her power moves. She picks 130, and 130 is the one that got the advantage for the next game. She picks him completely, and everybody's like, raw. What did she? Raw. Everyone was just like, raw. And I'm like, yeah. She made a power move. She made a full-on power move. Got rid of the advantage. She was like, you're not having an advantage over me and everybody else in this game. Nah, everybody else is at the same level pegging. Now that you've gone, 130 could not believe it. He was like, that's bullshit. I said, nah, she played the game, my son. She played the game. Out you go. Out you go. But also in her playing the game in the way that she's doing these power moves, because she's thought about it. She's thought about it. That means she's showing people her strength in terms of playing strategically and getting where she needs to be. So she's showing people her strength right now. Now her strength is going to be seen as an advantage, or it's going to be seen as a what's the word? Or it's going to be seen as a, what's the freaking word I'm looking for? As an advantage to some, but it's going to be seen as a hindrance to others, or not so much of a strength to others in that sense, because they're going to feel it that they're going to be part of the weak link. So she's then put a target on her back to try and get her out. So then she took 243 out. Now 243 is Stephen. 243 is Stephen, yeah. And Stephen and Rick became like that. But I told you, Felicia was a people watcher, and she was watching how they were forming their relationships, and they kept Bangu, was it Gabangu or something like that? They kept saying in their group, and I'm thinking, you're baiting yourself out to get called out in this game, because now you've made a full-on alliance and other people can see that. So she picked him, and everybody was shocked at that. So Stephen made his hugs thinking Rick's gonna stay there, it's gonna be good. Nah, she picked Rick straight after she picked Stephen, so both of them went. So basically she cut both that group down, like literally to 2 people. Everybody else was gone, and everyone was like, raw tit. And I was like, that's how you play the game. That is how you play the game. Felicia thought about what the fuck she was going to do once she knew that she could eliminate 3 people, and she knew how she was going to do it and why she was going to do it. So she used that cerebral cortex of hers. And I'm just like, this was the problem with some of them in there. They underestimated the women in there. They underestimated them at the end of the day, because they thought they were mighty or powerful. Because you see, when it comes to packs, and if you've got women and men in there, the men will normally naturally congregate towards their own kind in terms of the men, basically, and leave out the women, not actually thinking that we could get somewhere with these women. But they didn't think that way at all, because they thought they had the brains and they thought they had the brawn in order to do what they needed to do. And the women were kind of left in the background to do their own little thing. Yeah, it came back to bite them in the arse, didn't it? Like, absolutely came back to bite them in the arse. So the gang itself, after Rick and Steven was like, well, they were talking afterwards, and they were like, well, what the fuck happened? And they believed that they were too visible. They were too visible. And I thought, no, it weren't that you were too visible, is that Felicia was watching everybody, and how everybody behaved, and that's how you needed to play it, because her and Ashley literally did kind of sink into the background and watch everybody, and how, as I said, and how they were interacting with everybody, and how the dynamic of the room was. So they decided, well, Felicia decided that she was going to put stop to that at the end of the day, and she did. And she did. So now there were only 63 players left. And I'm telling you, this game's going to get brutal. This game is going to get brutal near the end. And I can see it. I can see it, because all I know is this amount of money that keeps dropping into this pig. And don't forget, this bloody pig is hanging in the room, so they can, and it's clear, and they can actually see how much money is filling up this freaking pig. Yeah, so you can physically see the money that you could potentially win. Yeah, and you think that's not going to change people's mindset and how they move amongst other people? Of course it will. Of course it will. So then it comes to the next morning, and the pink people come through, and basically they need 5 players for a chore. So people went and did this chore basically, and what they had to do was squeeze enough oranges in 30 minutes to fill the containers that they had to make fresh orange juices. So that's what they did, and then they would win a treat. But nobody actually thought that actually, tell a lie, a couple of them did think that they didn't actually set out the terms. Yes, I'd win a treat, but what would be the consequences? Nobody didn't know what would be the consequences. So they were kind of happy that they were getting a treat, but in the back of their mind, you could see their wheels turning as to say, well, we get this treat, what the fuck is going to happen to us, sort of thing. So you could see that kind of happening to them. You could see them starting to second guess. You could see the paranoia setting in. You could see everything else in between happening as well. And I was like, oh Lord, I don't know how I would cope in that environment. I really don't know how I would cope in that environment. I don't know if I'll be snarky with people. I don't know if I'll be quiet. I don't know if someone gets on my back, that I'll bite quite quickly, because I'm stressed and tense all the time. So yeah, it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Like absolute swings and roundabouts. So they do manage to finish it in time, and the sweet treat is a picnic. And there is one person that ends up not being in a group, basically. So because it was an odd number, he ended up having to sit on the blanket by himself. So all these people are enjoying their picnic and everything like that. Now the first people that I see pick up something, like realize there's a false board under the picnic basket, and Mumsy and Sun end up picking up a bag out of this false bottom of the picnic basket, and there's marbles in there, and they're like, shit, not realizing, because they're not clocked yet what the marbles would be for, but they know something's coming. So they're looking around the room, seeing who else has picked up marbles. Now it didn't seem as though other people had marbles, but everybody else, all the people that sat down in their friendship couples, yeah, to have this picnic with, ended up with marbles. The one person that didn't have someone with them had no marbles in the slightest, so they were not involved in the next elimination round of the game. So everybody was thinking, shit, then that means, when it finally dawned on them, then that means we have to go head to head in a game of marbles somehow. This must be what would happen. So everyone's kind of like, oh damn. And they literally, because they've picked the person that they've wanted to be with and have shared this picnic with, nobody thought strategically. Nobody thought that when that if they give us this treat, yeah, then what the hell's going to happen next, because there's going to have to be a game and an elimination somewhere. So they honestly didn't think that far ahead, and they should have done, like literally should have done that far ahead. And basically at least one person should have thought, look, if we end up having to go head to head with each other or get eliminated somehow, let's split up and go with someone else. At least then, if you win, you get to stay. If I win, I get to stay. And hopefully both of us won't be eliminated. Do you know what I mean? But no one thought that far ahead at all. No one thought that far ahead. So when they all get taken out, we do know that the next game is marbles, and we do know that this time they will be going head to head and only half of them will return. So that's where I'm going to end this episode, and I shall be back quite quickly with the next one. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos, and I will leave you all blessedly. Peace out.